T-Bird! Oh! Oh! Yeah! Well, things really took a turn coming into race day at round 3 of the 2024 World Cup here in Leogang. The weather up in these big alpine mountains is always variable in the summer, with the sun, the heat, the evaporation putting colossal amounts of energy into the sky, and they turn into thunderstorms, which are a regular occurrence. And last night we had a rather big storm which caused the whole valley to lose power for over an hour, and then the rain absolutely pummeled the track. Some riders walked the track in the evening and there were rivers flowing down and eroding it away. This morning they had to delay practice for over an hour so the track teams could fix all the damage. Suffice to say, things were a little bit spicy this morning as riders had to deal with some extremely challenging conditions. Some tracks get a little more challenging in the wet, but Leogang becomes almost impossible in some sections. The track did improve a little in time for the junior races, but it was still incredibly difficult. We were treated with some rather spicy racing. For those that don't know, you can watch the junior replay on YouTube, so go check that out if you didn't know about it. The junior ladies kicked things off in the slippiest conditions of the day with some wild moments from almost all of the riders. Iris van Leuven made the most sense of the challenging conditions and rode an extremely composed and super impressive run with barely a wheel out of place, which is just so impressive. It was also cool to see, considering I called her for the win back in our up to speed video, and I'm usually wrong, as my Pinkbike fantasy team clearly shows, so I've got to savour these moments. Cheers, Iris. The junior men category racing was even more wild and exciting as the boys clearly struggled to control their testosterone and adrenaline fueled excitement as they threw themselves into the greasy conditions with reckless abandon. Asa Vermette was one of them, with his first World Cup race run misfire, getting offline and laying things down on the exit of those stumps. Commensal muck-off racer Max Alran would be the rider to take advantage of the situation by flowing his way down the hill with that lazy speed that reminded me of Josh Bryceland when he was at his peak. We saw how fast that style could be during our inside the tape ghosted section, and the skill levels and the corner commitment to ride like that is unreal, and it bodes well for more battles this year. After an extremely brief pause to catch our breath, the elite females took to the track and we witnessed the return of Miriam Nicole on the podium in third and the breakout ride of Anna Newkirk in second. And Henry Quinney rightly noticed that it's the first time a steel downhill bike has been on a World Cup podium since, we think, the Sun Radical under Nicolas Vouilloz at the RA World Championships in 1999. But it was to be the home hero Valley Hull who would absolutely just rip that Austrian hill apart with a dominant run to claim the biggest winning margin of the year so far at 7 seconds. That's a lot of time, 7 seconds. We knew she was going to be good, but that is absolutely fantastic. Fair play, and what a recovery from the disappointment back in Poland. The elite men got the best of the track, with the conditions drying out in the open and getting that perfect blend of rolling speed and grip. The biggest surprise for me was seeing Finn Isles go from being unsure if he would ride after injuring his hand in practice, missing an entire day of practice, missing out on his qualification and semi-final run, and then getting back on a bike after skipping a full day and finishing second behind race winner Loic Bruni. Super impressive, and I do have a theory, but we'll get to that in a bit. The day belonged to this year's strongest rider so far, Loic Bruni, and he rode a masterclass up on the Austrian hillside and has been so strong and consistent this year. He himself said that he's not the strongest in the wet, and yet he was the fastest rider down that fourth sector in the tricky lower woods. To be faster than every other rider in the conditions that you don't like is a scary thing to think about for all his competitors. Loic is now 320 points in the lead, and it looks like consistency is building confidence, and those two are a scarily powerful combination. Finally, the story that I'd like to share with you this week is to do with Finlay Isles and his surprise result. Now, fans of the World Cup Series will be aware that last year saw the introduction of semi-final timed runs, which increased the race load of racers from 2 all-out timed runs to 3. Last year, the semi-finals took place on the race day, which we all know a lot of riders really struggled with, as performing 2 back-to-back all-out runs is super taxing on the more physical tracks. This year, the semi-finals take place the day before on qualifying day, which gives the riders a night to recover before the all-out race run on the final day. No matter how fit and strong and well prepared the rider is, fatigue will build over the event and reduce the athlete's maximum potential performance come race day. The level of deterioration will depend on the rider, their conditioning, how they've managed their output over the previous days, how much sleep they get, the quality of the fuel they've consumed. And I mean, Benoit Coulange said it himself post-run. The track is super physical, and by the time they enter the bottom woods, it is super hard to hold on and not make mistakes. I propose that not many of the riders are actually fit enough or manage their energy output enough to be able to give their best on the race run. And this is by no means an attack on the riders. They are absolute animals who have trained to an extremely high level. I am saying that the current structure of the event and the demands of downhill push the human body to the point where performance will drop off by race run. And how did I come to this conclusion? Well, there's not a lot of data to go on, it's more a feeling. Finn Isles absolutely has the ability to win a race on his day, but injuring yourself to the point you can't ride your bike in qualifying and semi-finals is not the normal precursor to winning a race. I propose that missing the qualifying and the semi-finals allowed Finn to come into race day fresher than everyone else and pull a result that you wouldn't expect given the wetter conditions he was in, his injured hand, his lack of practice, and the fact that he himself didn't think the time would hold on that long. But then, the time training result from the first day did show that he was possibly 2.5 seconds faster than everyone else before he crashed, so maybe I'm talking crap. Who knows? Certainly not me. Right, we're off to Italy. Yep. Is it that way? That way.